Just without obviously getting too heavy into the old COVID thing, but how concerned are you that there's a pretty significant COVID outbreak in the squad this week, and how disruptive has it been in terms of your plans and preparations for the game?
It's always concerning. Like every day we're in here. I'm sure everybody out there in society at the moment, even like from a personal point of view, I have young kids in school, and like kids in one of my kids' class in particular, even in the pod in his class, were out with COVID. You know what I mean? So it always feels like it's very very close at the moment. A couple of guys, it's taken out this week. It is what it is. Thankfully, the guys, they're all okay, and we just manage them through. We've had some cases over the last while. Think back to last Christmas. That was quite a messy period where we lost a couple of people at that stage, particularly around the close contact bit as well. And we're learning all the time about how we best manage it, etc. So we're doing all we can in terms of trying to mitigate the risk. And even this week, extra testing and all the rest to make sure that we are covering all the bases best we possibly can. So, just something that we have to deal with. There's other teams out there which are in a much more challenging scenario than we are. It's fair to say, we've got a big group of players registered for Europe this year. Way more than we would have had in the past. So that certainly allows teams a lot greater flexibility as well. We have a lot of people through being tested this week, and for the most part, the guys are okay. So, thankfully, even the guys that are the cases, the symptoms are very very mild as well, generally speaking, which is good.
So can I ask you then as a final question, just about your own team lineup, a bit about that, and can you speak a bit about Bath, if you don't mind, please, as well, and where they are and what you expect from them?
Yeah, so I suppose on Bath, I think people look at Bath and go, well, they're bottom of the table, haven't won a game yet this year. So yeah, they're definitely a team that are maybe low on confidence. It would be fair to say from watching them play. I thought they really put it up to extra now a couple of weeks ago. So. And that's the bit that we need to make sure we're prepared for. So, we can only focus so much on Bath. We've had an idea in terms of some of the personnel that they have, some of the guys that potentially will be missing, which is probably still the case. So we prepped well for some of the individual battles that we think will be there. And you look at their team; there's still plenty of quality there. A lot of good young players that they've placed a lot of faith in this year, and there's always a bit of danger in that. So I'm sure they'll come with a bit of a nothing to lose attitude, fresh start into a new tournament. So for us, that we just make sure that we prepare as well as we possibly can. We have a team that's got plenty of experience there. A lot of guys, have played together in the past. So we talked about the last couple of weeks being a bit of a challenge for us, where post November internationals, you got a group of guys coming back together from lots of different places, really. So some guys involved in the tests. Some guys hadn't played in a while. Some guys had played in that A fixture against Ulster. We didn't play particularly well that day. A lot of that's probably in our own control. Opposition put it up to us as well. So much better last week, even though it was short prep going into the Connacht week. And this week is another chance for us to build as a group, get some positive momentum, continue some positive momentum off the back of last week. So it's just about putting in a big performance. Then we have the challenge going away to Montpellier the week after. So we've plenty of experience in the group. Obviously, Jemisin's come back in at 9. Partners up with Ross. They played plenty together in the past. Same back three from last week, and Kieran comes back in with Gary, so they've played again plenty in the past together as well. So up front with Andrew, that front row, particularly you saw during the November series, went well. Ross Maloney has been a very very important player for us, and Ryan Baird is someone with a lot of athleticism, and we're looking forward to him just really progressing week on week, and because he's still a very very young player. He's had some exposure at international level. He's had some exposure at originally Pro 14 into Europe, and it's just trying to build on that experience for someone like Ryan, because he's still a very very young player. And the back row then, Reece, captain at 6, ton of experience, and then along with Josh and Caelan, who I thought were outstanding for Ireland during the course of those November internationals. So, and then we've plenty of experience without going into the individual bits on the bench, but there's plenty of experience there as well. So, it's great to live in a performance now that shows a bit of a signal of intent from the group. And as I said, tries to build on that momentum piece for Montpellier next week, because again it's going to be a short turnaround. So the games in Europe, just again going back to what we talked about probably at the start of the week around the launch, or sorry, last week around the launch piece, it's the 4 games, making sure we're battling out for every single point that's there, because that's the bit that matters for later in the season. Even though there's lots of things to unfold between now and then, like all you can control is what you can control. So that's the bit that we can control right now, is making sure we put in a big performance at the Aviva, in front of hopefully a big crowd. So I believe there's still a few tickets left on sale for those that haven't got them yet. It's an outdoor event, so hopefully it'll be a good atmosphere at the game, and the lads can put in a big performance in front of friends and family and all the rest.
Good man, thanks. Stay safe and mind yourself.
Thank you.
Hi Leo, Will from Virgin here. How are you?
I will.
Leo, just touching on Bath there, I know there's a number of new faces, a few debutants in the team. Is that a good thing, as in you can kind of focus in on maybe some younger players who'll be a bit nervous, obviously maybe one of the biggest games of their career in the Champions Cup, or does that throw a bit of a curveball to you because some of these players will be a little bit unknown to you?
I think there can be that potential curveball, and you're trying to chase lots of things, because we've studied and looked at Bath as a team, but in many ways we're better off focusing a little bit more on ourselves and just making sure we stick to what it is we're trying to do, rather than guys going off script, so to speak. So that's a challenge for our guys, but we still have plenty of experience in our group, and I think there's a good understanding of if we go out and try and impose our game, will be hard to stop. So that's what I think that's been the big focus for us this week. We've got to understand what the threats are going to be that we need to face. Bath have some dangerous players. De Glanville is a dangerous broken field runner, 2 big, strong, physical winners. They've got guys who will be aggressive at the ball. All the English teams, generally speaking, are very, very strong set piece mindset. So making sure we deliver on that part of the game from our point of view. So it's the basics of the game, essentially. So anyway, we're looking forward to getting going in this tournament. If you think back to the end of last season, the way it played out for us, everyone had to go through the different COVID challenges, and I think that's going to be there. I think it's fair to say for all teams at different stages during the course of it. But for us to try and deliver on the big stage is what we're after now as a group.
You've named Reece as your captain. Obviously, he's plenty of experience captaining sides. Is he one of the big leaders in the team? Is it important for him to lead this side and lay down a marker in this tournament at an early stage?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, not just from the team's point of view, from an individual point of view as well for Reece. It's important that he's imposing himself first on the game. And as you rightly point out, he's a very important leader in the group, and very well respected amongst all his peers. And he's still a very, very important player for us. So he was unlucky not to be involved, I think, during November, but it's a good window for Reece now to try and push on. All our guys are very, very competitive. They want to get involved in the national team. So these are the big games where all the national coaches are watching. So for him to try and, as I said, impose himself on the game will be important, because it's a big block against for us, which leads into the Six Nations then.
That's great. Thanks, Leo. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hi Leo, Kieran from F104 here. How are you?
Good.
Leo, how important is it that Leinster aren't underestimating Bath, even subconsciously? They'll obviously see them rock bottom of the Gallagher Premiership, but though, how important is it that your squad don't underestimate this Bath side?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and even the last couple of weeks, we had a very disappointing loss at home at the RDS to Ulster. Better performance from the team against Connacht, but the last thing we want to be is this yo-yo team where you're up and down in terms of the performance piece. So it's just trying to build on the performance of last week. So lots of good stuff within that. So it's just important for us to try and kick on now, and try and get every point as well, because of just the nature of the format of the competition, that we want to literally go after every single point that's available to us on the day. So, and depending on how the game unfolds, but yeah, it's a good challenge for us now. You know, and we'll watch with interest all the other games that are going on. You know, so we'll see. We'll try and get maximum points this weekend. But again, we got to be able to play the conditions and what the opposition are doing, and not try and chase too many things too early in the game in particular.
Will you be looking to hit Bath early on and try and get that bonus point victory, and hopefully then be able to rest a couple of lads ahead of the short turnaround trip then to France next week?
Yeah, it's hard to pre-plan these things. But yeah, no, for us it's just trying to start the game well, nice and composed. And as I said, we're not trying to chase things too early in the game. So, you know, trying to impose our own game, trying to nullify what Bath will bring, some of the threats that they have. And it's just that sort of that focused 80-minute performance is what we're after.
Leo, thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi Leo, just a quick one. There's one word or one line there in the release about being tested outside the window. Is that the players were symptomatic outside of your normal protocols and went themselves to get tested?
Yeah, well, obviously within conjunction with the medics here. So if someone would present with a symptom, and then you're trying to piece together whatever potential context there may be, and everyone else gets tested as well. And obviously we have our normal round of PCR testing as well. So, and even since then we've been, you know, doing additional antigen tests as well. So just to be extra careful, just making sure that, you know, we try to cover as many bases as we possibly can.
Just on team there, had you always in mind to play Ross in this game, or was there something maybe you wanted to see from Harry last week that you didn't perhaps see, and then that's why Ross was a better fit?
No, Ross was one we talked about potentially. You know, we certainly had discussed this with him. You know, so he had a fair idea that he'd be featuring this week.